you'll actually see on the doorposts of all Jewish houses, and of course synagogues as well. What it is, it's called the mezuzah, and inside the mezuzah, so it looks like a box. Really, what it is, it's a shell that holds a very special piece of parchment. So what's essentially written on the parchment is the Shema, which is the central prayer for Jews, which is Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, which means, "Hear Israel, the Lord is our God, the Lord is one." What we have here is a small gift shop. These types of things, gift shops are fairly common for synagogues, particularly synagogues in areas where there are few other major Jewish community centers. Our synagogue here is called the Okanagan Jewish Community Center, so it almost doubles as a community center as well. And being one of the only centers for Judaism here in the Okanagan, we also supply our members, or anyone who's interested in purchasing these things, essential Judaica that people essentially need to run different aspects of ritual in their homes. This box at the back actually is a real central tenet of Judaism. It says there in Hebrew letters tzedakah. What that means is charity. In our faith, charity is absolutely central. We've been commanded to give 10% of our income to charity, and that doesn't necessarily mean to the synagogue per se, but certainly to good causes. Some people send much of their charity over to Israel, or some people would send their charity to other Jewish causes or secular causes. But that is really a central tenet of our faith. And we blow the shofar on Rosh Hashanah, and once on Yom Kippur. Rosh Hashanah is our New Year. And if you like, I can blow it for you.
Sure, yeah.
Okay. So that's the sound that I made is called a tekiah. We have three different types of sounds that we make on the ram's horn, and it's integrated into the Rosh Hashanah service.
Okay.
So there's the tekiah sound, which is what I just made. There's the shvarim, which goes, and then there's a teruah, which goes. And essentially, what it is, it's a commemoration when God gave the Torah on Mount Sinai. There was so much fanfare, and you can read about it in what you call the Old Testament, what we call the Torah. There was so much fanfare. There were sounds of ram's horns, and people were celebratory and playing ram's horns. So it kind of evokes grandeur, splendor, and godliness. One of the things that's very important for us is called a talis, or a talit. So this talis is essentially worn like this. It's worn by all Jewish men in prayer. And the reason why it's worn is because God commanded us that we should wear fringes on all of our garments. So essentially what this is, this is stylized, but I mean this style is really what we would call a minhag, or a tradition. It could have been styled in a different way. The main purpose for this garment are the fringes at the bottom, and that's a biblical commandment. So the idea with the blue is that it's like the sky. It's less so God. It's more like the sky, and it's also commemorative of the the crossing of the Red Sea as well.
Yeah.
We call this raised area the bima, or the stage.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost all synagogues will have this type of raised stage, particularly around the ark. What you're seeing in the back here is the ark, which is where we keep our Sifrei Torah, our scrolls, our Torah scrolls. Anyway, so as we open this up, so the Torah forms a central part of our Shabbat or Saturday morning service.
Mm-hmm.
There's a section. What we do here, I'll open this right up right now.
Sure.
So you can see we have 3 Torah scrolls here. They're all the same.
Okay.
The Torah itself comprises the 5 first books of the Old Testament. So the 5 books of Moses, we call them, and they were essentially the books that were transmitted to Moses from God. The parchment, it's not paper. It's actually it's lambskin.
Okay.
And it's really we consider that the Torah is so holy that we show reverence for it by not even actually touching it.
Mm.
So that's why we have this pointer called the yad.
And it's even in the shape of a finger at the tip, isn't it?
That's right. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, it is. It is in the shape of a finger, indeed.
I've heard there's kind of a practical purpose too, in that it's not good for parchment to have
right.
oils of fingers and stuff as well, isn't it?
Well, yeah, and that's exactly. That there are a lot of. It's interesting, in our Jewish tradition, there are a lot of laws that we observe, and we have observed throughout the years, and really only later do we almost realize the divine wisdom for it.
Right.
So, I guess an example that I always kind of think about is that every morning we Jews are supposed to wash our hands. During the Middle Ages in Europe, or pretty well almost probably all of human history. I mean, there were many people who just they bathed once or twice a year, right? And as a result, they would get all kinds of diseases because they're very unclean. So because we had worked these rituals into our community,
Mm-hmm.
The health of the Jewish community was what was often much higher than the health of the surrounding people.
Right.
And actually this resulted in some trouble for us because at the time of the bubonic plague, unfortunately, thousands of people died, probably almost 1 million people died across Europe, but the Jewish community, remained quite healthy.
Mm-hmm.
And of course that led to allegations that we had poisoned the wells and all these types of things, which didn't work out so well for us in the end. But I mean, you just that as an example, you start to realize the divine wisdom really behind a lot of these laws. I mean, also the idea of the Sabbath or the Shabbat, right? I mean, there's so much sociological wisdom in the idea of having one day a week where you don't do any work.
That's right. It's a breather from the rest of it.
It's a breather. It allows you to connect with your family. It allows you to reconnect with important priorities in your life.
Yeah.
You're not being worked like a dog, right? I mean, it's a beautiful concept. To read Torah it's not just reading Hebrew, because you have to read it with a certain trope as well. It's a certain intonation.
Oh, okay.
So so the Torah trope is B'chodesh hashlishi letzei b'nei Yisrael me'eretz Mitzrayim b'yom hazeh ba'u midbar Sinai sa'u mirefidim v'yavo'u. Right? So that's you have to know how that melody kind of goes.
It's a chant, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a chant. It is a chant. essentially Rosh Hashanah starts our fall holiday period. So we have Rosh Hashanah. 10 days later, we have Yom Kippur. Then we have a holiday called Sukkot. Those are our fall festivals. In the spring, we have the festival of Passover, which is coming up very soon.
Right, which often falls sort of in line with the Christian calendar because of
that's right, absolutely.
Last Supper is
indeed, indeed. So you know, it's oftentimes very close to Easter, and actually this year it's right on the Easter weekend. So,
right, yeah.
You know, it doesn't always gel like that, but I mean, this week or this year it does perfectly, right?
Sure.
So that's Passover, which is, you know, very obviously extremely important holiday for us. We count 50 days from Passover, and then we have a second set of holidays, which is called Shavuot. And on Shavuot is the day that commemorates when the Torah was given to Moses on Mount Sinai. In addition to those really core festivals that I was talking about, there are secondary holidays as well. Hanukkah is, you know, really a secondary holiday.
Okay.
You know, people probably in the diaspora think it's a major Jewish holiday, but really, you know, we really only recently we made it into more of a major holiday because of its proximity to Christmas. So,
right, yeah.
You know, all the Jewish kids say, you know, where are my presents, right? So,
sure.
you know, so we have to kind of drum up Hanukkah a little bit. Also, we just had our holiday of Purim, which is also kind of a somewhat minor holiday. It's like, again, not a biblical holiday. And then in some communities that are more Zionist, certainly in Israel, there have been, you know, a second set of holidays that have taken on somewhat religious connotations over, you know, the very recent past, and that is Israel Independence Day. So there's that day, and then there's also Jerusalem Day, where Jerusalem was reunified in 1967. Some communities will mark it, some communities won't mark it, some communities will mark it in a very secular manner with just parties and fanfare. Other communities will, you know, say Hallel, which is, you know, where the word hallelujah comes from. So they'll say special praises to God for what they recognize as a miracle that happened in 1948. So they'll add, you know, religious levels to it. I mean, this is what we call the Tanakh, which is the Old Testament. It has the Torah, which is the first 5 books of Moses, the Nevi'im, or the prophets, and the Ketuvim, and the writings. So it's Torah, Nevi'im, Ketuvim.
Right.
So when you put those 3 words together, it creates a new word, which is Tanakh.
Yeah.
Right? I'd like to show you this beautiful quilt here.
Yeah.
So this quilt was designed by different families in our community. I guess about 12 or 15 years ago. So different families, you know, took different central themes in Judaism and quilted or knitted different aspects into this broader quilt. So to kind of go around, I won't describe each section of it, but at the center here we have a menorah. So this menorah, and I can talk a little bit more about it when we get into the actual sanctuary, but this menorah, as you can tell, is different from a Hanukkah menorah. So the golden menorah in the temple, and also the menorah that was in the tabernacle as well, was a 6-branch menorah. The idea really talks about the emphasis of Shabbat in the week. So you have the 6 days of the week,
sure,
and really the ultimate purpose of the week, bringing godliness into this world, being the 7th day, the Shabbat. We have here, this is more modern. This is Zachor in Hebrew, remember in English. And of course, it's a commemoration of the Holocaust. You can see the yellow star there. So I mean, Jewish history is very long. You know, we're a 4,000-year-old people.
Mm-hmm.
So we've had our share of simchas, wonderful occasions, wonderful historical events, and we've also, of course, had our share of tragedies as well.